So, welcome back to part two, session 67. The Menagerie has made their way over to the Central Bounty, still in the western side of the occupied and interned Green Hill. Along the way, Marb had been zigzagging and catching up to the group, looking for a carved symbol that don't recall if he's made the group aware of yet. Um, and Al has taken on the disguised self form of Carme, Rock, and his old portal Crouch has taken over a bench, sending Pebble to follow, and Davis has set up kind of in the same area, kind of watching over Rock, watching over Carme, and Dregnar has uh, found a seat on the outside, back to the building, looking towards the central bounty and part of the open street. As the wind kind of blows across the very heavy scent of incense and spiced oils kind of cross your nose, Dregnar, kind of to the point where like kind of not painful, but it's like you can't ignore it, and you're just kind of really trying to see where it's coming from, as it's kind of interfering with some of your tea that you're sipping with. Uh, and as you kind of scan for a moment, Dregnar, you see Marb, and Marb is kind of wandering off, looking around the area. You know, and then you see a well, I guess my best way to let you say what you see is Donnie, let them know what you're doing, what they're seeing, or what Dregnar is seeing at this time and smelling. So,
I'm sitting cross-legged in a clearing of the crowd, but I'm also drawing a bit of attention, but I'm sort of just sitting there meditatively. I have next to me a censer that has a lit incense in it, and I'm just I'm in very precarious far traveler garb, so and I'm basically just not trying to hide it. I know that people are watching, but I don't seem to care.
and then you can kind of like, a little bit on the physical side if you wanted to give like a description. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously you're Luxodon, but you did say some other things.
I
So,
am. Let me pull up a
yeah.
description. Actually, it'll help me a lot.
No, you're good.
Oh, that's good. I like it.
So, I'm probably not the first Loxodon that you've seen. I am a Loxodon, so I'm fairly large. I am your standard gray, but I have a bit of a like paint of purple to my skin. However, I'm also adorned in very light, flowy clothing and adorned with silver earrings and tusk adornments, all depicting the sun. I have a very ornate leather golden dyed headpiece that depicts the setting sun, and my pants are just patchy and flowy.
Yep, very well.
I kind of look like an Arabian flowy white type of cloth, I would say.
I'm getting it.
Very cool.
I look very comfortable.
So if so, have we? Would we all have seen this at this point?
Yeah, at this point, like Dregnar gets the big whiff of it. I guess maybe the only individual that really, or individuals that may have not really fully seen it is Al, as Carme starting to head in, and then Marb kind of going onto the other side of the building, traveling out of y'all's line of sight, doing Marb things. But yeah, Dragnar would definitely be the first to notice, and then Davis, as you're kind of just looking, keeping a bead on, you see Dragnar, and you see Dragnar just staring intensely towards that, and you follow his gaze, and you see this vibrant, large, and oddly out of place, almost like meditative Luxodon. And then Rock, you just kind of get that sense that you kind of look over and you see the same image, and he's kind of like on a mat meditating, a little bit of, smoke,
So
and it's very contradictive to, the style of faith and worship that the Mother of Bounties are kind of displaying.
so how similar does he look to Drelldrome, or whatever his name is?
So can I make one addendum to actually help that real quick? I am a Loxodon, but I forgot to include that I am somewhat smaller than typical, and I'm not a super beefy elephant, as you would say.
Okay. So looks very different, I would say. Like, obviously different.
Yeah.
Even someone
Yeah.
who's literally never
Oh,
met one Loxodon before to be like, that's not the same guy.
yeah, from Dol Durham or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Drelldrome.
So, yeah, so you see him, and then you're like, oh, he's uh,
Yeah.
is
Little.
that a runt? Is that a,
Well, they come that small.
yeah,
Okay.
maybe it's a kid, who knows? But yeah, it's interesting because as you guys are kind of observing him, he's still got some distance away from the Mother Bounty Shrine. He's got it also further distance away from the dining area, like all these dining tables. He's kind of just in like a portion where it just kind of clears up a little bit before there's a turn, and not like a perfect 90-degree intersections, but just this weird turn kind of off to a random alley. And he's just kind of sitting there. He seems to be like on some sort of mat that has blues and purples and golds in the fabric. And as people walk, they just kind of look at him. He doesn't seem to really be interacting with them in his own little world.
Adam, I want to keep an eye on the Mother of Bounties personnel and see how they're interacting with him, since it's such a contrast to what they're doing with what he's doing.
I'm
Mhm.
absolutely an anomaly for sure.
Yeah. I would say that, yeah, as you're kind of losing focus on Carme, Al, you've kind of walked in and have been kind of, well, uh, lost in the swarm of people as this in, one of the higher traffic shrines. Uh, your form is not as distinct as a red-skinned tiefling with horns. So as Dragnar and Davis and Rock are kind of panning and looking for you, they've kind of lost sight of you amongst this sea of people inside. Well, no, I can't say sea of people, but number
They
of
found,
people.
they found me
Yeah.
with a really tall hat.
I'm looking through Pebble still, so
Oh,
I'm
okay. So you hit the pedal. Yeah. So um, you did roll a 16 stealth. As you're kind of looking, as you're looking through Pebble's eyes, you're kind of looking as Pebble's looking, and you see like some people kind of step a little too comfortably close, but Pebble just knows, just instinctively is walking. They don't really seem to notice or give too much mind to to the kitty. There is a one little halfling, but it's actually a younger halfling, uh, likely a child, closer on to Pebble's level. So she sees it and she's like, "Oh, kitty, kitty!" And Pebble just kind of ignores her, walking, following Carme per your instructions. And you kind of see it. And she's like, "Hi, kitty." Um, but yeah, so Al is kind of amongst that. Dregnar, as you're outside and just kind of realizing you've kind of lost Carme, kind of trying to refocus, and then you're still getting kind of distracted, and you're kind of sitting back, taking another swig of your tea. Um, you, what you see, you don't necessarily see mother of, brown robed individuals interacting with him, but go ahead and give me a perception check.
I rolled a 1, 6.
6. Yeah. the one thing you do pick up on, which is very obvious, is just like people snap and look at him, and then they try not to look at him too much and kind of walk off. Uh, but yeah, there doesn't seem to be any real attention other than that, at least from what you can perceive. Marv,
Okay.
as you went, go ahead, Dregnar. Sorry, go ahead.
When I realize I've lost sight of Al slash
Mhm.
Calmaine
Car-
or
Carme.
Carme, whatever,
Yeah.
I will
Alan.
kind of. I want to walk across the street. I'll drop a few coins on the table for whatever, and then I
Mhm.
walk across the street. I want to see if I can reestablish the view on Al, but also keep the Luxodon kind of in view as well.
Okay, yeah. So you leave a couple silver on the table. Get up, not completely quietly. Davis, you kind of hear Dragnar scoot his chair back. Gets up. You kind of follow him with your eyes.
Mhm.
Dragnar's kind of approaching. Kind of puts, puts his little hood up a little bit, not all the way up, but just kind of gets it ready if he needs it. Starts walking forward. As you approach it, there is the main doorway in. There are the windows. There are just the plants, things that are in the pots are just overgrowing through the window. It's very like how do you just say it? Like unkept, just allowing it to just kind of flourish and grow. And there's just flowers and almost like vines kind of coming out, and that's also obscuring your vision. And as you kind of look in, you just see like the backs of people's heads, and you can kind of every once in a while see like a break. Go ahead and give me a perception check. It'll be pretty hard to spot, but maybe.
Not with a 3. 8.
Yeah, the 3. Yeah, you're looking and you see okay, brown. Okay, braid, brown, brown, brown. You're just seeing too many that kind of fit that bill, and you're at least as of right now, if on the outside of the building, you've lost Carme for sure.
Okay, I'll just take up a comfortable spot, like leaning against one of the banisters or posts or whatever,
Yeah.
and just kind of keeping my eye out and listening for what's happening in the room.
Gotcha. As you're doing this, you do have a very clean sight on this Loxodon, vibrant color, basically show that is this individual off to the side. I guess we'll swing over to Carme. And then Carme, so you have crossed the threshold, and you look back, and you do not see really the entrance anymore because there's just people and activity, and there's plants growing out of pots, and you're starting to step out because the building itself was never very large. It was maybe at most 10 feet deep, and it was maybe about 20 feet long. It was just kind of more of a functional front than anything. But then the real building itself was the backyard, the court in the back, and it is as diverse in vegetation as it was previously. You see just all manner of different bushes and flowers and shrubs, and of course in the rear center of it is that 45-ish foot tree. I would say you're probably surrounded by at least 30 plus people, maybe more. What are you doing, sir?
Uh, trying my best not to make contact with anybody. I'm gonna try to slowly make my way to the front or in that direction.
Okay. So, as you're walking, kind of weaving through, surprisingly, easy, and keeping a little bit of like you're being conscious that if they bump into you, they might ascertain the illusion or something. You kind of you're dexterous enough where you're able to kind of roll your shoulder and move out of the way of people. And at one point where you're stepping, you just kind of like stub your toe hard, but not too bad because you're still wearing your boots, and you kind of look down and you're seeing roots are starting to kind of break through the ground of just different areas, and it just seems to like now be taking over a little bit more of the ground, and they're actually breaking through. So you kind of walk over carefully and keep going. Uh, are you looking for something? Are you doing anything, or what's your goal in this?
Uh, real quick before that, does the tree look any taller compared to yesterday? If
You
if I can tell
can.
at that scale,
Yeah, you can give me a nature check.
what is a tree?
What is this? Is it alive?
Uh,
Does it
I like
feel?
trees.
Wow.
Not 20.
Not
Out there,
2022.
arborist.
So, uh, natural
But
20,
I talk to it.
22. Yeah, right. You like you feel the roots, and you're like, it's okay, buddy. No. You don't know. You think so. Not a lot bigger, but you think it's bigger.
Okay.
And you like kind of look at the ground, and now that you've actually hit a root, you just start noticing that this isn't like the only root that is broken through the surface. There's actually quite a bit, and you're kind of tracing visually, kind of stopping almost like an awe. And as you're there, a female humanoid, likely human, kind of hard to tell because she's got her hood up, dark hair, kind of spilling out, brown robes, hands kind of tucked in. Marvelous, isn't it?
Absolutely stunning.
Hmm. Truly, the mother has worked her wonders.
So benevolent. Are you the
Yes.
sisters?
As she kind of turns to you, you do see soft face, though not necessarily like, you would say a pretty average looking individual. However, there is something very unique about it, or as you've seen, maybe not super unique. Her left eye has been removed, and now you are able to kind of see what Marb had kind of mentioned to you, that there is very intricate like tattoo like scrawlings around the eye, kind of following a couple marks. Uh, and she
I'm
smiles.
I'm gonna try not to stare while we're making eye contact.
Okay. She
Apologies. I'll take that as a yes.
indeed, yes.
Glorious. I'm actually. I've been listening to the sermons for a while. I feel like I do want to devote myself to the mother. Do you know if you're accepting people right now?
She kind of chuckles. Oh, everyone is, you know. If you take from the land, you are already, in a ways, giving homage and worship to the mother as she has blessed it. Listening to our sermons, well, that is wonderful. Hopefully, it is inspiring you to seek out new fruits and share the bounty with others. Uh, Al, go ahead and give me a insight check.
Okay. 17.
17. Uh, she is looking through you, kind of like she's keeping eye contact a little bit too much.
Okay. I'll try
Uh,
to match the amount of eye contact.
you change, or what'd you say? You try the
I'll try to match that amount of eye contact.
okay.
If she
Uh,
if she's constant, I'll be constant.
yeah. She's like, yes. Sharing amongst you've already been here for some. However, I don't believe I've seen you at this location. Perhaps you were at one of our many places of worship. Of course, this one, the Central Bounty, is perhaps this city's greatest expression of the mother's gifts. As you can see, our beautiful tree is, well, and you see her kind of break eye contact and watch the roots, is flourishing and thriving. And she gives a big smile.
It is so beautiful. But yes, yes, I I worked in some cotton fields quite a little ways away, and only recently moved into town. And the bounty's even greater here. It's amazing.
Hmm.
But
Well, we are closest to the source, perhaps.
that's that's what I'm wondering about. It's been grand to share the bounty, to harvest the bounty, but I feel like I can do more. Is there anything more I can do?
Oh, well, listen to the sermons. Devote yourself. Share. Uh, you know, if you wish, we can. Well, you are more than welcome to uh, wear our garb. Uh, you know, perhaps you will stand out amongst the others and be a true flower of beauty. And perhaps someday, like me, you will
A
be
blushable.
chosen to. Mhm. The magic. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
Little. No, I'm kidding. It doesn't work like that. But yeah, you're able to allow the blushing. Um, and she still, the only time she really broke eye contact was when she followed the roots, and said, "It is a pleasure to see you. Please stay. I will be speaking shortly under the shadow of the central tree."
you'll be
Uh,
giving the sermon. Oh, I'm very much looking forward to it.
hmm. Well, it was a pleasure. I did not get your name,
The pleasure's mine. My name is Carme. Uh,
Carme.
and you, what may I call you?
Truly, you may call me Lucinda.
Lucinda. That's a beautiful name.
Hmm. Yours as well. And then she kind of like takes a couple steps back, looking at you, turns, and
I'll do
then
a light curtsy before she
okay.
turns, ideally.
Uh, she nods her head with a smile, and you're able to walk. Uh, you're free to be amongst the crowd. Is there anything you wish to do?
Uh, I think I'll, I think I'll stare at the tree a little bit to try to. I don't want to like look around and be suspicious. I'm gonna stare at the tree and smile for a little
Sure.
bit.
Yeah, as you kind of stare off,
So wonderful.
briefly, like not like she's kind of turned, and you kind of like sense your focus on the tree. You do now kind of hear the sound of a. And you kind of look down and you see Pebble just towards the lady, and then looks up at you.
I'll keep my hands on myself and be like, "Hello, hello there." Take one step back. Act like I don't know who it is.
Mhm. Yeah, and then the
Oh my.
Pebble kind of continues following the sister a little closer, and then she stops to speak with another individual. And Rock, you will see this as Pebble kind of slinks through the crowd, at people kind of walking over some of the roots, and kind of goes through like a flower bush, kind of sitting there looking, watching the sister, speaking to a few individuals. And then as another like, you know, it's a short conversation, probably like 2 minutes pass. Um, as she begins to walk, Pebble kind of slinks out and kind of does the thing where like a cat kind of rubs up against someone's leg, and she kind of kicks him off of her. It's like, ugh, filthy beast, and then keeps walking forward towards the tree. Uh, we'll jump to Marb. So you have, as far as I understand, Marb, been kind of trusting your compatriots to handle the central bounty, and you are kind of, walking around the twisting walkways and streets of this area, and you're still continuing to look for the markings and also signs of, well, underground activity, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right, go ahead and give me an investigation check as you are looking.
Yes, a lot better. 24 investigation.
Nice. I'm just responding. Al Lucinda. I don't know how you want to spell it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, with a D. All right, Marb. Yeah, 16 for a total of 24 investigation. Along the side of the central bounty and amongst, it's kind of like a fencing as well. However, it's kind of, where they do like the cross fencing, and then there's just plenty of vegetation kind of growing amongst it, kind of allowing those like vine-like plants to, grow and flourish and reach for the sun. Same thing. You're just seeing like anywhere there's like just some sort of like stylized design. There's those seven with a hook, seven with a hook, seven with a hook, kind of all throughout this building. And you're like, okay. And then you step out and you're kind of venturing through the streets, twisting and winding. It's actually in this part where you've gone, it's fairly dead in activity. There's really not too many people walking around. It's almost like it's been kind of recently forgotten, as if all the attention has been drawn more towards the tree and the central bounty, and that street more immediately that it's shared. So you kind of navigate, and through the time, 30 plus minutes, you really are not seeing any more signs of activity. Therefore, you're not seeing any signs of that seven with a hook. In this area, 24. Unfortunately, at least for the time being, there hasn't been any real signs of, what you would basically be looking for, like thieves' cant markings or underground activity. There was a moment where you thought you saw something promising, where there was a sign that had that's hanging in like the top corner was removed, like chipped off, and there seemed to be like a little, a groove carved in on one of the boards. However, that really didn't mean anything looking around. You were hoping that meant like this is a meeting spot, but there was no signs or indications that this was ever used as a meeting spot. And yeah, you've just kind of gathered that in the last. Go ahead and give me a survival check, actually, if you don't mind.
Ooh, okay.
We'll see if you're better at ascertaining amount of time.
And this is wisdom. Oh no.
Yeah, it's hard for you to get. You just gather it's been a while, really, since there's been proper foot traffic through this kind of portion behind the the central bounty. It just seems like not like ghost town, but it's definitely lost a lot of its activity. So you've eventually make your way back and kind of venture, and you kind of link up back with that main street. And as you're kind of walking through, and you're seeing the both sides of the street have uh like the tables all out and about, just serving different types of foods for different people to just kind of be close to the central bounty. You do see uh a few not together, but like, in one place you see another one of the little seven hooks, and they're small, like, they're carving them so that the symbols are, maybe 2 inches at most. And then you kind of continue walking, and you see rock still on the bench, and then you see another one. So there are a few of those symbols in this area closer to where like the food is being served. And that's now really the first time that you notice, just out of everything, there is a very bright and not obnoxious in sound, but in smell and appearance, runt of a loxodon, just kind of maybe 100 feet away or so from the central bounty, seemingly legs crossed, sitting on the ground, very, very out of place.
Ooh, is there any roof nearby that I can climb?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of buildings. Heck, you were on the roofs here previously. How would you like to approach getting on a roof?
I mean, I'll find like a hopefully discreet corner
Okay.
alley, just like some footholds, test the wall, and just try to climb it.
Right.
Maybe
Climbing it will not
stealthily
be.
as possible.
That's what I was gonna say. Climbing it will not be difficult for you. So just go ahead and give me a stealth check just to see if you're able to. Well, do it quietly.
Let's go.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum.
Oh, I made 19, but still.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, I'll keep that in mind. 19. Marb, you fail. You know, you kind of made your way. You think it's kind of good. You're kind of climbing up, and while you're climbing up, you're kind of like just kind of looking for some more carvings. You don't see anything. You make your way up, and then it's a palm kind of like roofing. You kind of step on it, and it's a little loose in one spot, so you kind of find your footing, and then yeah, you seem to make your way okay. You maybe lose your footing once, but you're fine, and you're up on
Sweet.
roof.
I want to keep like an eye on the Loxodon. Loxodon.
That's correct.
And I'm kind of curious. I'm like, but I want to look at how the people kind of like navigate around him. If they like, I was like, ooh, cool, like something new to see, or if they're like kind of like whispering, kind of like distrust kind of thing, like trying to
Sure.
avoid him.
I get you.
Just kind of like get a feeling, yeah, like also how the town is reacting to him.
Okay. So from a distance, go ahead and give me a perception check. Since you have, do you have like a higher vantage point? You can go ahead and do it at advantage.
Mm.
You can see more. Yeah, jeez, natural 19 and natural 20. Jeez. All right, 29 total. Marb, people are giving him a berth. Like they're not getting too close to him. Most of the people that walk by either direction kind of look at him and then look away. There are the occasional ones that seem to look and kind of nod and kind of be a little bit more accepting, or at least visually accepting of him. You notice two things from up here. One, that there are in his area and like on the side of the building where he's like his kind of closest to him, kind of behind him, you see like like a thrown cabbage and like maybe a thrown tuber and some tomato, and there's just the signs of people throwing food at this individual, and it seems to just like been smushed and kind of forgotten, laying to the side. And there's like a couple birds that have kind of landed and pecking at like the open exposed fruit of that's on the ground. And you actually do spot that there is like a little bit of a smear even on this person's mat and his garb. Even from that distance, you're able to you have very good eyesight. And then the other thing that you notice, and it just strikes you that this individual is in the sunniest spot in the street, because most of the street is being covered by the shadow of the tree. Yet where he is sitting, the buildings are not casting a shadow on him, and the tree is not casting a shadow on him. It is just the brightest spot on the street. That's about it that you pick up.
Okay.
All right. So, guess Davis, you're the only one that I haven't really checked on most recently, and then pretty much it's free play for anybody.
Yeah, I guess upon seeing Dregnar give him the stare down, I would have started to kind of wander over there,
Okay.
and I would probably take out, let's say like 2 silver and just like throw them down there and just say, may the mother's bounty be with you. Just like not even engaging eye contact, just kind of tossing it down as if he's like basically like a street beggar.
Okay. As you do go to toss, there doesn't seem to be anything of collection except for the mat that he is sitting on. So you just kind of toss it onto the mat.
Yeah, near his.
And
Yep.
cool. Donnie, anything?
I opened my my right eye to see what just plinked onto my mat. Um,
2 silver coins.
sir, I believe you dropped some coin.
Yep. Yes, I did.
Oh,
By
I
the
did
mother's
not
bounty.
expect to collect any tithing from anybody in the crowd today, but I don't mean to be rude, but I don't need this.
Oh. Well, then what what are you doing here?
Oh, I do hope that I don't look like a beggar to you.
I, you know,
Pardon the stains.
I so what are you doing? I mean, it smells nice, but is this what is this?
Ah, yes. I'm not of this area as you would assume.
No, I did assume that.
But the my travels have led me here, and
Not
things
the
have been getting a little precarious, don't you think?
Yeah, when did you show here? When did you arrive here?
About a day past.
Oh, friend, your timing could not have been worse.
Well, worse or better, it matters little to me. My
Well,
travels led me here for a reason. No matter that reason, I'm prepared.
um, well, good luck with that. And I'm just kind of weirded out, so I'm just gonna like shuffle, like leave the coins and sort of back away and just be like,
Something to make you feel even maybe a little bit more weird, Davis. Go ahead and just give me a Constitution check.
okay,
Not a save, just a check.
yeah. Why does it always roll off the freaking desk? I think that's 11. Yeah, 11.
Yeah, you've noticed that just in this brief, few moments of talking with this individual, that it's the exposed sun beaming down on you is hot. Like
Yeah.
summer temperature hot.
Although thankfully I'm
And
not wearing like my heavy armor or not. Yeah, it is. Well, it
yeah,
counts as heavy
exactly.
armor, yeah.
But
Still hot.
you've noticed that you're like, as you're walking away, you notice that your forehead is sweating, and then like your armpits have sweated, and you're just look back at the individual who, I don't know if you kept one eye open or if you closed it again. Uh, but he's just sitting there and goes back to his meditation in the sun.
I'll have to.
I catch you before you leave, though.
Okay.
Now, something has enraptured these people, I have noticed. Do you have any clue to what is going on?
Yeah. Um.
They seem very excited.
Whew, man. It's oof. Yeah. Yes. The. You just got here a day ago. You say, right?
So
Indeed.
to clarify, and I just want to make sure because there might have been something mixed up in the notes. To this part of Green Hill a day ago, you've been here for much longer as you got stuck here. Keep that in mind. So
Is that me? I
I'm just
missed
making.
that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's for you. So
Oh,
yeah,
my
you
bad.
got to this portion of Green Hill maybe a day or two ago, as you were correct to say. But you've been stuck in Green Hill, and this is a little bit, hey guys, sorry, for basically since it got interred. So you've been here for 3 weeks, maybe a month. Kind of lost
Is it a
track.
month ago that happened? I'm sorry, I missed that. My bad.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
How dare you not have all this committed to memory at this point?
God, I thought elephants never forget.
That's
What's wrong with
exactly.
you? No, don't worry. Like, I'm here to help with the story. But yeah, so definitely you can retcon it if you want to kind of make sure.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
all right. So yeah, Davis, he would have told you he's been here for, 3, 4 weeks. Hasn't been able to leave.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I've only been here, for a couple of weeks myself, but yes, things have changed recently. Uh, where are, where do you stay here? I mean, I guess you've only been here a day. Where do you plan on finding,
Ha!
do you have a
Stay?
place to, well, is this, you said your travels brought you here. Is this your destination?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
You see that bright beaming ball above us? I follow that.
You must
It
be
brings
Davis-
me
very
where it needs to.
fast. You travel with it?
One could say that.
So,
Davis, go ahead and give me just a perception check as he mentions that.
sure. I believe that is a 15. Yep.
Yeah. As he says that, and you look up, and then you look down at the individual, and you're starting to feel that heat and everything. He is adorned with, iconography of the sun. His incense, little, that sensor that's on the ground with him. It's solid, metal, probably brass, but it does seem to have like gold plating or something stylizing it. But the holes themselves are cutouts of the sun. Uh, Amongst his garbs, there are suns. Some of the patches on his pants look like to be sun. Some of the jewelry amongst this individual, sun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that you have a close connection to it. Um, so I assume you'll be leaving shortly. I mean, the sun will be leaving here in
Well,
sometime.
that's the precarious part that I've found myself into, and I don't know if that's my fate or the sun, where it tries to lead me, but I don't seem to be able to leave right now.
What is something keeping you here?
Well,
I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me. Can we? It's really hot. Here. Let me.
Oh, yes.
Let's. I'm just gonna. There's a. We can. There's a little bit of shade over here, if you wouldn't mind. This is. Oof.
of course, yes.
Marb and Dregnar, since y'all are definitely keeping an eye on this, you do see Davis interacting with the larger individual as he stands up. Davis,
How tall?
he's
Yeah, I was gonna say how tall is
yeah.
he?
I'm 6'5".
Oh. It's
That
It's
is
kind of
tall.
surprising for
even
you,
a little
but
taller than me. You're like 2
but yeah,
inches
Davis.
taller. So wow.
Yeah, but Davis, kind of surprising for you because you've seen now two other Luxodon, and this guy is not that much taller than you. You're expecting him to like stand up and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden be like a head or more taller than you. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He's just a little guy.
Yeah, but yeah, no.
Comparatively,
Dragnar,
I know.
yeah, Dragnar and Marb from your upper vantage point, Dragnar from your like kind of window seal resting, kind of losing track of Al, and keeping more of an eye on the strange Luxodon. You do see that Davis has been engaged in conversation with him, and the Luxodon kind of gets up. I don't know if you're folding your mat or not, but whatever you wish. Kind of starts following, and then he's just kind of boom, boop, following Dragnar, or following Davis a little bit.
Yeah, and I would kind of lead him somewhat away from, basically, to that's somewhat of a secluded little place. Like even if there's people, very quickly milling by, that's fine. I just, away from people. Just be like, hey, so you don't know anything about this place? Do you even know where you are?
Well, I've gotten word around that this place is very attached to nature.
Yeah, they, especially now. That seems to be one of the things that has changed in recent times. I can't describe exactly when and how all this happened, but how much have you heard of these Sisters of the Bounty?
So I've heard of the Mother of Bounties from several common folk around.
Uh-huh.
I have tried to follow the sun, as it were, out of the town, and there is some very hostile, let's call them neighbors.
I wouldn't call them neighbors.
And I cannot leave.
Hmm. I assume you were heading, if you're, and then I look up and like trace the path. Like, so I assume you're heading west?
Yes,
Yeah.
I am heading west. Where the sun sets, as it were.
Is that your destination? Where it sets?
I don't choose my destination.
Interesting.
So I suppose that would be the answer of why I'm here. I don't know. Fate decides. My son decides.
Do you have a child?
I missed what you said, I'm sorry.
I said, do you have a child?
Oh no.
Your son.
I do have family. However, we are disciples of the sun, and I have not seen them of some
Oh,
time.
that son, not your son. The son.
Oh, the sun.
Oh, okay. Well, I will say this. All the mother bounties, sister bounties, I would just be very careful around them. We do not trust them. Or I do not trust them, sorry. But I would not let this mistrust be too widely known, for they do seem to wield a great deal of influence and hold around here. But just be careful.
Would you say they're dangerous?
Maybe not the sisters themselves, but their allies could be very dangerous. And like this whole time, I'm kind of like eyes darting around, looking like over my shoulder.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Oh, sure. 14.
14. All right. I guess I won't say your character's name yet because you haven't introduced yourself. Donnie, go ahead and give me an insight check.
Pull my character sheet.
Okay. That'd be a D20 plus 7 for you.
Yeah, if you use the dice rolling in D&D Beyond, you can just click. Oh, or in here. That works too.
Oh wow,
Nice, very
26. Nice. So yeah, as you're having the conversation with this half-orc individual, and I think if I remember right, it was like a linen shirt, regular like beige pants, kind of
Cotton shirt, but
very
yeah.
simple looking. Yeah, cotton shirt. That's what it was. You notice that like mid-conversation, as he's getting into the topic, he starts kind of just looking around. And Davis, you kind of look and you see Dregnar kind of looking at you with the conversation. You don't think to look up, so you don't know where Marb is. And you do see kind of at the central bounty, one of the more larger male, in this case, it is let's just say it's a dragonborn. A dragonborn, but in the brown garb, arms crossed, just looking at you two, kind of staring.
Yeah.
And then,
I think we shouldn't sit here and talk too much, so I will leave you be.
You're quite right. I do feel extra eyes upon us, as it were.
I'm just gonna like spontaneously laugh and like clap him on the back and be like, "Oh yes, perfect! Oh, so good!" Very loudly.
go ahead and give me
Now,
a
before
performance
you
check.
leave,
Okay.
that would be great.
22 for me.
Yeah, it's surprisingly natural. It kind of throws you off for a second there. But yeah. And you just see Davis. You kind of, as you're doing that, you kind of look over your shoulder and you see the dragonborn kind of still, and then kind of not looking at y'all as intently, but looks again. Right.
What were we saying? What was your name? I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. I'm Davis, by the way.
My name is Serge. Nice to meet you, Davis.
Surge. Well, if we can find a way to get you out of here, I will try and come and find you, but I must consult with my companions first.
Indeed. And before you go, it seems you guys are also not of this township.
What? Who? What guys? What?
I'm sorry, I totally fucking spaceballed that.
It's okay, don't worry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Just roll with it.
I
Let's roll with
meant
it. Well,
just you, but I was
There you go.
thinking
Yeah.
in my head.
Well, I've
I meant-
also said we a couple of times.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
with
here,
that if
go
you
ahead
want.
and do this. Let me do this. We'll play with this real quick. We'll allow you to kind of catch up to yourself. Go ahead and give me a perception check. Roll it at advantage because your trunk is involved. So D20 plus 7 at advantage.
22, nice.
Yeah, so 22. Yeah, so as he's been kind of talking, something you just, your trunk knows, you're sniffing it out, and you kind of smell a couple individuals that are kind of coming off of this end of Davis as he introduced himself. And you look, and as you kind of also noticed as he was looking back, he looked at a dwarf, and he kind of looked at a turtle on a bench, and you kind of just intuitively kind of put together like friends of his, maybe. And he said "we" a few times, so there we go. Everything's canon. We're good.
So I'll still be like gasping, be like, what? Or you guys? What are you talking about?
I'm eternally sorry. I just think you mentioned.
I might have. Yes, I do have. Yes, my companions and I, we'll have to come. We'll find you, I think. We don't know where to find you.
Mayhaps there was a reason that I was here after all. May fate have smiled upon us both.
Yes, I would hate for somebody who has, a good destination and a goal in mind to be held up by these and I say very much under my breath, scoundrels.
Presumptuous of you to say good, but I thank you for the compliment. Fair travels if I don't see you, but if I do see you soon.
So will you be here? I mean, we don't know how to find you.
You'll find me in the same spot you found me just before.
Okay, just be careful. And then I'll do the whole laughing thing again. Of course I will. You know it. Okay, that was great. Okay, talk to you later.
Works for me. Good.
Give him
And
the
you're able
peace,
to-
friend.
And then walk off.
Nice. Yeah, so Dragnar and Rock, if you did ever break your focus through Pebble, you would have seen the conversation. Dragnar, you watched this, and Davis laughing, and Marb, you would have seen that, and from your vantage point, Marb, not too much other activity other than people coming in and out, and you're kind of keeping an eye out for, Almain, all that. Eventually,
I have a quick
is anyone else
request,
doing
if I
anything?
may.
Yeah, sure.
Can I, upon walking away, I know this is a bit weird on timing-wise, can I, make a somewhat retroactive insight check? Be like, do I believe his story? It seems okay, but thinking about it,
Sure, go for it.
Oh god, I rolled a
for it.
1. So, total of 5.
Man, this guy is just,
He's just weird.
he's so
and-
different.
Yeah.
No, so Davis, you've traveled, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you've seen some strangers, from other lands. He is definitely not from around here. And you're so confident that he is definitely you're not even focusing on his story right now. You're like, that seemed legit because he is so weird.
Yeah.
You're like, he's so weird.
Clearly,
That's
he's
something-
trying to get somewhere else other than here, because he wouldn't fit in here at all.
Yeah, exactly. Do you see the way he dressed?
Yeah.
Do you see the way he talks? Do you see the way he sits? Everything about
I'm
him.
not supposed
weird.
to be staying here, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As far as he knows, this is just what fate brought him. So
Yeah. So Arcana history. All right, hey, Donnie, if you would be so kind, I think I fixed part of your character sheet. You should be able to refresh, and all your intelligence checks should now be able to show your wisdom score instead, since you took that feat.
Nice.
oh, beautiful, thank you.
Yeah, I remembered how to edit that, so that's fixed. Okay, so anyone is free to play. Al, whenever you wish to emerge from the central bounty, or whatever you want to continue doing in there, let me know. You let me know what you guys are doing.
Can Pebble
Hey.
climb the tree?
Ooh.
I mean, she's a cat. Cat has claws.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, she can climb.
I would have Pebble climb the tree as high up as she can get into it. And just anything interesting in the tree that she notices or anything that upsets her.
All right, this is gonna sound weird, but go ahead and give me another stealth check for Pebble.
Okay. Come on. 13, and you said +4, so 17.
Wow. Okay, Pebble. So after being like shooed and kind of kicked by the sister, oh, and Al, by the way, you now have a very good visual of what the symboling around the eye would look like, should you ever wish to imitate it.
Awesome.
Pebble kind of walks up to the tree, sees the sister, kind of slinks out to the crowd, goes through some of the bushes, kind of steps over some of the roots. And the roots have gotten to the point in some places the roots have risen 3 or 4 feet, closer to the base of the tree. Kind of goes behind the roots and just kind of goes to the back of the tree where the sun is actually hitting it and starts kind of. They have a climb speed of 30, so not necessarily all that much slower. She normally walks 40, now she's going 30. So she's actually surprisingly quick. The thing about it is there's so few branches here. So poor Pebble is like just the entire time just nails into bark and kind of scraping and kind of sliding down a little bit and kind of going back up and sliding, but eventually, after a moment or a long moment, she gets up there to where there's branches and kind of looks around. What you see through Pebble's eyes is just a very lush tree canopy up above you. Looking.
Okay. It doesn't. Like, I don't know what senses I totally get from her, but she doesn't
Vision.
feel comfortable there. Or...
You only get vision.
What was that, sorry?
You only get vision.
And hearing it?
No, only vision.
Oh, yeah, and hearing. You do get hearing, yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this a fruit tree of any kind?
You can give me a nature check.
Sure. 10 plus. Is this Pebble's nature? I don't know what Pebble's is.
No, it's yours. You're looking through Pebble.
Okay.
20? 10 plus 10? Or something like that?
No, my nature is +7.
Oh, 7. Okay, so 17. Looking up, you're not seeing any bearer like fruits being bore or any like flowers on this tree. James, I need help. What would be an appropriate tree that would be like in this area? Can't think of it.
Be silver maple, oak.
We'll do silver maple. That's the first one you said. Cool. You can gather it's a type of maple.
Okay.
Based off the leaves, really.
Can Pebble still see Al from up there?
Looks over. Yeah, sees him.
Okay.
Kinda.
She stays in the tree and watches Al till he leaves the building, and then I'll try and pan for out.
Okay. So she kind of curls up a little bit, kind of hanging over one of the branches, kind of sun on the backside of Pebble. Oh, kind of watching Al. Al, what are you doing? Wow.
Sounded like a sermon was coming up, so I'm gonna
Yep.
full time small talk with the other people in the front row until the sermon.
Okay.
Overall, I was looking for more information on how to impersonate a sister who's
Okay. You're
devoted
gonna
herself
read.
fully that she loses an eye.
Okay.
So if he has to, he's gonna listen to the sermon and try to find Lucinda afterwards.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm not going to go through an entire sermon, obviously. You are able to make some small talk with some of the individuals. You do see that some people are bringing in some sort of tribute, be it a carved piece of wood in the shape of a some sort of female in robes, or someone else has brought in a necklace of shells from the river, and in between all of them there seems to be like a bead of some sort. Uh, there's people bringing, various types of simple fruits and vegetables and all that, and they're kind of leaving them at the base of the tree. And interestingly enough, when the sister is giving the sermon, she's actually just standing on almost like a platform that has kind of naturally occurred from the roots kind of breaking and kind of meshing together. Not obviously no like 90-degree angle, but just an upper point. Um, and she's speaking and addressing people. And Al, go ahead and give me a charisma saving throw.
Oh yeah, that happens. Okay.
Was it charisma or wisdom? I can't remember at this point, but charisma.
I think charisma.
I think it was charisma if I remember right.
I hope charisma.
Okay.
Wait, I am fully rested.
Yes, you absolutely are fully rested.
I'll do a lucky on that.
Okay, go for it.
Okay,
Okay.
that's better.
Yeah. So 27 total, natural 19. Uh, you find yourself just at some points just mindlessly nodding along when she is speaking, and like kind of, you know, losing track of time, spacing out, and then you kind of shake it off, and then kind of look at the people around you, and they are just best equivalent I have is like when someone is just zoned out watching TV and you're trying to get their attention, like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'll take out the trash. Yeah, whatever. And they're just focused on the television. It's kind of like that situation. They're just, mother of bounties. Therefore, they kind of repeat some of the sayings. Yeah, their brains are soup right now. But you shake it off and you get the sense maybe you should skedaddle.
Sorry, should or should not?
Probably should.
Okay. Uh, okay. Yeah. After I realized I've heard the gist, everybody's acting kind of weird. Very slowly, I'm gonna get at least out of the front row, and then as I get further back, I'll move a little faster.
Mm.
But I'm gonna
Mm.
take my time.
Go
Nonchalant.
ahead. Because you did such a good save, I will allow you to do a perception check to try to put some of her mannerisms and, well, perception or performance, your choice, to kind of take in some of her mannerisms and sayings, and that just kind of to memory.
A little better perception.
Okay, 22. Yeah. You're fairly confident you've picked up on some of the body language, some of the expressions, etc.
Okay. Okay.
As you kind of slink out, you stub your foot against another friggin' root, and you're just, yeah.
Actually, I'm probably gonna get a bit of distance and try and find another alley.
Oh, so you're gonna leave? Leave? All right.
Yes, but once I get out of the crowd, I'll walk slowly.
Yeah. So as everyone has been kind of waiting, Marb, you've been kind of looking. Dragnar, you've been kind of there. Davis, you kind of got back into position. Rock, you see, Pebble tracing Charme back into the crowd, and then you lose sight of her, and then you bamf your vision out. I believe you said that was your trigger to bamf your vision out and bamf Pebble back to you.
Yep.
And all of you basically see Carme step out, look around, and just kind of walk down the street, passing one of the alleys, and then turning down one of the alleys, just very calmly.
Actually, do I pass by Rock?
Sure, he was on a bench being grumpy. Rock.
I'll I'll tap him on his shoulder. Sir, are you ready for bed yet? I feel like it is getting to the afternoon nap, is it not?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll get up and follow.
Okay. All right. Serge, what have you done during this?
Am I close enough to perceive the chanting that is going on that he's listening to? Or am I a distance away?
No, you're quite a distance away. You're still
Okay.
about 100 feet away from the central bounty, just because of you got that sense of that like kind of hostility from the people that go there.
Okay. I'm going to go. I'm gonna meander to one of the food stalls and sort of without asking, use one of their water basins and start washing some of the cloth that got stained from annoying
Okay,
commoners.
gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, as you do, there just happens to be like a more of like a pitcher of a barrel and pitcher of water, and you just start like, oh, okay, start washing, and you do this fairly. You do it for a little bit before someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" But before that, you've been kind of just looking around, reading the people, and you see a symbol that you've seen around town. And I'll type it to you again, just so in case you forgot. I don't want to.
I remember actually.
Yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, you see it here as well, and you're like, and then someone kind of goes, "Hey, sir, that's what are you doing? That's you got to pay for that. That's drinking water."
I do apologize.
Well,
The rather
apologize with some
hostile
coin.
members of this mob have dirtied my clothes. How much is this water?
For that whole thing, call it. You know what? You look like you can afford it. 2 silver.
Fair enough. I'll hand 2 silver over.
Haha.
The 2 silver that I acquired from tribute earlier.
Yeah. The sun has a purpose. There you go. You're welcome.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, I'm just looking at the gifts now, and I get distracted sometimes. I hate you guys. It's so good. So this is a tradition.
I really like the gifts because it adds context. I'm loving that actually.
Yeah. So this like started, I think, even like session 1, where they just started doing
Oh yeah.
like a story of the story via gifts. And if you ever miss it, you try to interpret what happened by the gifts. So
I'm
all
gonna
right.
keep my ears perked since I do notice that. I'm gonna try to just keep a close ear on conversations around me, but
Okay.
I'm not gonna like investigate too hard because
Mhm.
if they need me, they'll come, you know?
Yeah. So I will say, as you're, sir, and then you just kind of you toss him the 2 silver, and you just kind of just instinctively look, and you see um your half orc and orcish friend, just because of his figure, and kind of broad, the back of him kind of walking away past to where you were sitting originally, and you just kind of notice it, and then kind of, hey, look up, you're in the shade, and then you're free to do as you wish. Cool. All right. So there, boys, we're going to go ahead and take another break. Let's call it be back at 11? Sound good for you guys?
Sure.
I might be a little bit later if Cam goes to bed soon.
No, understood, Nico.